when you get a stem of stuff all put together, you can still manipulate the frequencies a lot within it, even if you cannot separate it, because there are tools that will allow you to separate tracks today. I'm not talking about that really. I'm talking about if you have all your drums together, I don't know of one yet that will separate the kick and the snare and the hats and make them all sound really good. All they have right now is where you can make the full stereo track broken down into just all drums. So until they get where they can separate the kicks, snares, and hat and make that all sound great individually, you're going to have to be forced to do something to rebalance your drums in the event that you get a mix of drums or something that's not good. Like if somebody is asking you to mix the song and they send you a drum stem and the drum balance is all out of whack, what do? This can apply to anything other than drums too. If you get a bunch of instruments all together on a stem, you may want to rebalance the way they sound. So the same concept applies. You're going to take the track. I'm going to show you exactly what we do in a session. So check this out. You're going to take the track and duplicate it 3 times. So I got drums right here, duplicated low end, snare, and high end. Again, you could use this for anything, but I'm going to show you on drums. When you just play the track by itself, it sounds like this. Okay, not bad. But now as I blend in the snare, the track that I have, just a duplicate of with just this from like about 250 hertz to about 4.3K, and everything under it, I'm boosting some particular frequency, in this case G, the note of G, let's say, a lot. And I got this, it's not just G because we're swooped out, but my point is you could really point this and you can make a chord if you want. I mean, you can make, pick a couple notes, pick the note of the key of the song. If you're in the key of G, go with that. That sort of thing. And then you'll make your snare sort of blend in with the song a lot more, but also you can really give it personality. So like, let's say the beat was a little flat, let's say as it is. We blend this in. Now don't worry about the phase. When you get the volume right, you'll check the phase. Because if you notice, as the volume changes, so does the relationship of the phase between the original sound and this new sound. So now that it's here, the snare really has presence. It's a whole different sound, and the phase situation's not bad because this track's leading the punch, but we could check it still. I'm going to use my EQ one band like I talked about in another video, which is just the EQ one band with the phase button on, and that way I don't have to open it to turn it on and off with everything closed. Like I could have the Pro Q open and just bypass the phase, flip the polarity by doing this. I do that a lot. So much worse. It's so quick. You can tell so quick when the thing is right. It's like, all right, this sounds good. And then you flip it and it's terrible. That's how you know. And as you make the volume changes, it's going to have a different, like, look. Now, we'll see what sounds better with the snare down there. Now it sounds better this way. So that's the thing about about phase, all right, is the relationship is volume dependent. So it's also, anytime you treat it, it's going to move the wave a little, and that's going to change the phase relationship as well. All right, here we go. See, I just like the way that sounds, right? Now, don't stop there. Put a devil lock on it. Now, this is not something everybody has to do. It's just I've talked about it, so I want to show you what it sounds like. Now, you dial this in as much or as low as you want. Just gives it a little more length and brings the hats out a little. But check this out. Listen to it without it. Now, with that track, with the snare parallel that we just created. And if you want less hats to be affected by the devil lock, just roll back where the filter is, change the filter out, make it sound different, And again, like I said, once you've made adjustments, what do? This sounds much more like I'm going for it. Now, just to give you an example, if you wanted to mess with the high end, we have the same thing. We could now keep this in mind too before I flip to that. If you get too low here, if you bring this down too low, you're going to wind up picking up double frequencies in the low end. It's going to make that floppy and wobbly and bigger than it is. And that could be good if it's tiny and you need it bigger. But if it's a lot of, if it's coming in the way most stuff comes in, you don't want to give double frequencies there. It's going to beef it up too much. It's going to eat up all the compression, all the limiters. So just be aware. Be aware of where this is. And the lower you bring it, the more kick drum you're going to get in it, because this isn't a perfect split of the snare, right? That's the idea. Now, if that sounds like, oh, it's great, but it's missing the highs, and I didn't want to saturate them. Okay, so you broke that down now into a high-end bus. Check this out. High-end, 22, so you got 2.2K and up. Now look, 2.2K and up is just this. Now I'm going to mess with this to get only the hats that I want and blend this in. Ready? And on this, I also have soft tube saturation set high. I'm keeping it highs, and I'm lowering the output a lot because it was a little hot when I did it. Let's see. Okay, now listen to the difference. That's without the high bus or high duplicate, and that's without the snare. Now you may say, I like it better without that stuff. Now that's fine, but the point is when it's in the track, that's when you'll know what you like better, what you don't. When it's by itself, you'll have your opinion, and then when it's in the track, there could be clashing, things happening, and we're going with a pretty good sounding drum sample right here, so there's no really need to do it to this sample, but you could do it to any sample, so that's why I'm doing it with this. Well, that's how to rebalance any stereo stem and make it more than it was before. Because like we said, there are tools that will separate stems, but you still don't always get everything broken down when that happens, and that's why you'll need a trick like this. Like you may not get the kick separate from the snares, and you may need to do this. Same thing applies with any group of instruments. This will work, it just won't work as well when the frequencies of all the instruments are closer together on the spectrum. It works particularly well on drums because you got kick way down and you got hats and way up. So you can really split everything up, cymbals and high end and kick and low end. It divides up, it's the whole spectrum. Whereas if you got a bunch of guitars all playing within the same register, it's really hard to use this technique, but you can still use it to a certain degree. All right, talk to you guys soon. More videos to come. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. Take it easy.